Today I'm in Western Maine, and I'm here to meet Ryan Holt, a Maine resident who has been on Naked and Afraid, a reality TV show that airs on the Discovery Channel. I'm going to ask him about his experiences being on the show, and hopefully he can show us some survival skills while we're out here. It is a cold day, so maybe we'll start a fire. What contributes to your survival skill knowledge? You have quite a few different experiences.
Yeah, it's really well balanced, I think. A lot of people, a lot of people on the show have been veterans, and a lot of people think, oh, you were in the military, you could survive anywhere. Well, that's really not necessarily true. I give all the credit. I give all my survival skills, all the physical skills, all of this stuff, bushcraft skills, to my education at Jack Mountain Bushcraft. But then I look back into my military, which I let go a lot of all the external stuff, but I kept all the internal skills which really helped me out in survival situations or just living in the bush, as far as my leadership skills, my attention to detail, my motivation, my initiative, those 13 leadership traits of being a Marine. I took all those internal skills here and in here, and I brought those with me from the Marine Corps. So my upcoming episode, Naked and Afraid Alone, is actually a 3-hour special. From 8 to 10 o'clock is going to be my origin story, or Ryan's story. And it's a 2-hour highlight, basically a highlight reel with new interviews that I just flew out to Los Angeles for. And the interviews were all for my Naked and Afraid in the Everglades, my 40 days in South Africa, and the Bahamas. So it's highlighting all the best of the best, minus all the drama with the groups and the partners. So it's if you haven't seen any of it, it's a 2-hour reel of all the best of the stuff that I've done in my past 3 challenges. And then that's building up my story to the 10 o'clock new episode of my Alone challenge in South Africa. Like a week to 10 days prior to your departure, the location, the general location of where you're going. So then you're just like online Googling, any information you can find, YouTube, any videos you can find, calling up local experts of the area that you're going to, and just researching all the dangers, all the animals, all the resources, plants, animals, everything under the sun that you can think of. And I have all the knowledge from here, living in the Northeast and living in Maine from the survival school I went to, but people are like, well, you've never been to the Everglades, you've never been to South Africa, like, isn't it hard to, yeah, it's different, the environment's different, but all the principles of the 4 basics, water, shelter, fire, and food, remain the same. Right. You just have to find those resources to make those things happen. So the location changes, the environment changes, but the basics of survival and, they all remain the same. So it's just about getting creative and crafty, really. It's like a big puzzle to me. Yeah. I feel like a little kid when I'm out there, and it's just like this big playground and this big puzzle, and I just got to go find these puzzle pieces and put them together. This is a necklace that I made. These are all in the Everglades. This had an owl feather hanging from it. That's my necklace and my loin. Here's the Naked and Afraid bags. You're wearing it. Your necklace. This here is your microphone. And inside, this is your microphone, so you're wearing it under here so they can hear you when you're talking. And then the wire comes out of your mic out here, and then down the shoulder strap of your bag, and inside your bag is your battery pack. So one of the biggest things people ask is, why don't you cut up that burlap bag? I would use that thing for so many things. Well, yeah, I think every survivalist would have thought of that, but we're not allowed to cut the bag up because it holds our battery pack for our microphones. There's a headband, that's from the Everglades. There's a net bag that I found a bottle in the Everglades and made a bag so I could carry it around, made a little cork. There's the Everglades. That's all the alligator fingers and claws and teeth. So this is the 6-foot rock monitor lizard that I got. Then I found a giraffe skull. So this is an upside down giraffe tooth hanging from the bottom of it. So the bottom of it, that's the root of the tooth, so it actually looks like that in the giraffe's mouth. And then, I love this one. This is from, so I was bored, I had fishing line, and these are 3 to 4 inch thorns that are on every single tree and bush. This is how you protect yourself at night, by making your shelter out of trees with this. Well, as you can see, I get this giant beard, so I got creative and I made this really awesome beard comb where I'd use it every single day and comb my beard out.
We have to look good for the camera.
Yeah, I gotta look good for my interviews, One of my favorite things is my wildebeest horn crown.
I like it.
It's pretty tight. solid. So I actually found these wildebeest horns out when I was hunting one day, and they're completely hollowed out. All the marrow's been eaten out by insects and whatnot, so they're hollow. I was like, oh, well, that's a container. I could probably use it for something later. Not knowing what I was going to use it for, I just put it in my pouch, and a couple days later when I met up with the group, one of the other survivalists had snare wire as their survival item. I took one look at the snare wire and one look at my horns, and I was like, can I get a couple feet of that snare wire? And within 30 minutes, I made this horn crown that I wore every day hunting. The very, very first time, I mean, coming from the military and, you know, group showers and toilets without stalls and this and that and plenty of doctors, and, you know, I really wasn't too concerned about being naked or meeting anyone naked. That part didn't bother me. But on day one, when they're filming me, you know, on camera, and it's just this camera guy and the producer, and they're like, okay, take your clothes off. You know, this is that 1 second of hesitation, or kind of like that 1 second of clarity where you're like, okay, this is real now. Like, that was the moment of reality. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna get naked, and I'm gonna be naked for the next 3 weeks. So, but within 5 minutes, you know, all that disappears, and you're like, all right, how do we build this shit? Where are we gonna camp? Where's our shelter? How are we gonna get water, food, and all that stuff? You know, my mantra in life, you know, since the beginning of my first one is thrive. You know, thrive to me is living sustainably, abundantly, and within the balance of your natural environment. So yeah, that's my mentality. Is how do I thrive? How do I take from where I'm at with absolutely nothing, maybe just a knife, and how do I have a sustainable life with an abundance of water and food and, you know, fire and shelter? And how do I live? How do I, you know, sustain that life in a balanced way with what's around me? When I'm out there on one of these challenges, you know, it's a 21-day challenge, it's a 40-day challenge, but I go out there with a mindset that I'm there indefinitely from day one. I'm pretty well known for the alligator, the creation of the alligator boomstick noose, using it to actually harvest and noose a 6-foot alligator, and successfully and sort of methodically, carefully, you know, cautiously taking off the head of a 6-foot alligator, and then building a smoker and smoking all the meat. And can't give too many spoiler alerts, but on this next one, Naked and Afraid alone, I take all of those things I've ever done and anything I've ever harvested to the next level. So you're not gonna want to miss that.